It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends it. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker here on the Full Court Press. Thanks for tuning in on, what is today? Tuesday. It's been a weird day. Tuesday.
It's a preview Tuesday, previewing a couple of different things. For me, it was also travel all around the valley day.
Yeah, you put some miles on. Not your vehicle, but
yeah, it wasn't my vehicle. Around. It was a company vehicle. So we went to all the high schools in one day. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't know if I've ever had a reason to do that, but all 6 Region 11 teams took a visit to their school, testing out our equipment, getting things ready for basketball season, doing our broadcasts.
Which starts tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, tomorrow. First, Mountain Crest getting started. I don't think there's another team that plays this week at all, boys or girls. Maybe there's a girls team. I haven't fully engrossed myself in that in the girls' schedules yet. But yeah, all the boys, they start next week at some point. Mountain Crest has 2 games this week. So not only do they have 1 game the week before everyone else plays, they have 2.
Yeah, it's a little different, and both on the road.
Yes, they won't be here, so and that's big reason why we're trying to get those out there, so you'll be able to watch those of you Mountain Crest basketball fans. You'll be able to watch their team, get a first look at that squad. Coming back, can't remember where they finished 5th last year. I suddenly can't remember.
I can't either.
I haven't I kind of started early in the summer trying to do some legwork on returning players, but it's been a little bit since I've dived into Region 11 basketball. Basically, mostly since last year when I was fully engrossed in it, knew all the teams backward and forwards, and now I've got to do it all again for this year.
Mountain Crest was last.
Oh, they were last?
Play. They only had 1 win in region play.
I know it was a struggle for them. They weren't bad. I think they were just, last year's region was really competitive top to bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow night's game for Mountain Crest will be live streamed. We've confirmed with our crew. They are planning on making the trip to Stansbury. So first look at high school hoops tomorrow night on Cache Valley Daily and on 107.7 FM for those who want to tune in. Speaking of basketball, we like to help out our listeners. We like to be giving. We're giving people here on the Full Court Press. So here's the deal. We have 4 tickets to tonight's game between Utah State and Southern Utah. And the game is at 6. So if you don't already have tickets, but you would like to go, and you can pick them up before 5 p.m. at our offices at 810 West, 200 North in Logan. I'm just going to give them the first person who can text in on our Full Court Press text line who can legitimately use them and get here before 5.
Yeah, text in on the Full Court Press text line. Just give us some affirmative, I want them, and I can come pick them up. Some sort of message there on the Full Court Press text line.
Yeah, so 435-339-0321. We're making it easy to win, easy to go. Watch this Utah State men's basketball team take on Southern Utah tonight, 6 o'clock. You have to be able to use them. You have to be able to pick them up before 5 o'clock because that's when our offices will close. 435-339-0321. We just need to know if someone can go.
Well, we had somebody text in, 5242, saying, I want the tickets.
Okay, there we go.
And says they can pick them up before 5, so
that's a prerequisite.
There you
go. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hand these to Jason Walker. And, here, let's
Let's write down.
We'll write down the full phone number because I
Yeah.
know there's a few 5242s who call and text in. This is 5452, not to be confused. But we'll use the full phone number for verification purposes. We got a couple other people texting in. But yes, the game is at 6 o'clock tonight, correct, Jason?
Well, we had somebody texting saying it was at 7, and I'm double checking. And the first one, I thought it was at 6 too.
So printed on the ticket, it says 7.
Yeah, it does say 7 o'clock where I'm looking now, so I don't know why. I was thinking it was at 6, so I guess 7 o'clock. It's actually helpful for me because I thought I was going to have to dip out on the show early.
That's true.
But from all the information that I have, this game will start at 7.
Well, you still have to be able to pick up the tickets.
Yeah, you'll just get to go an hour later. But, yeah, I'll go run these up to the front desk, so be able to pick them up.
All right, yes,
In a
multiple texts coming through confirming the game is at 7. So I don't know where we got the whole 6 o'clock notion. Sorry about that.
It was from you, Eric. You did it. You did this to me.
Must have been me. Oh, I know why I said that. Because it was on our calendar, for our broadcast calendar, it says 6, but 6 is when the pregame begins, not when the tip-off is. So I think that was me. I will tuck my tail between my legs and bow my head in shame. So anyway, 5242, congrats. We're still going to get the tickets for you, and they'll be waiting for you, 810 West, 200 North in Logan. And we've got a couple different ways to verify who these go to. So thank you for the additional information there. And the others who are confirming the start time, thank you. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, well, I've explained why I got confused on that. We did have a couple other questions that were texted in to the show. One as early as this morning, but this is from 8968 saying, I know this is a little early to be texting, and this came just after 9 o'clock this morning, but I just read online that USA Today projects Utah State will play Arkansas State in the Cure Bowl. That would be an interesting matchup. It would be, obviously, Arkansas State, connections there with Blake Anderson, obvious, and you got Anthony Switzer, who played at Arkansas State. Some of the other Arkansas State players who followed Anderson here are no longer here. But a little bit later on, we'll get into these various different bowl projections that are out there and who you would like to face and where you'd like to see the Aggies go. So we'll get into more of that a little bit later on in the show. But that would be create some interesting storylines, no doubt. Utah State, Arkansas State facing each other in a bowl game. 5879, a big question for the Boise game is their running back Genty available. I think Kalani is good, but not as good as Genty.
Yeah, that's something that it's interesting because the thing is, Kalani, like, he was the guy that came in like first team All Mountain West, is a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher. And I kind of made fun of people for putting GNT because he was one of the leading returning rushers. He'd had one of those really good backup running back seasons where he had 700+ yards. I was like, there are people who are putting them on their All Mountain West teams. I was like, why? I was like, it's just because he's the second returning rusher, because there are a lot of leading rushers from last year's Mountain West that graduated, went to the NFL, whatever. So there weren't too many top-level rushers returning, so you're just trying to find the next closest running back. And I kind of made fun of people for putting GNT on there because I was like, well, do some research. Figure out who's going to be the top rushers from some of these other schools. Find some guys stepping into bigger roles. And I ended up kind of looking the fool because GNT comes in, largely because of Helani's injury, comes in and is the best running back in the Mountain West. So I kind of looked a fool there with doubting him. Being able to be a top-level, dual running back, catching out of the backfield.
Yeah, he's one of the leading receivers on the team.
Yeah, and, as a running back, and he's leading rusher as far as I think he's missed games. I don't know if is he the leading rusher or is he?
I didn't bring that sheet in with me.
Yeah, because he's missed some games, so maybe he's not technically the leading rusher, but this is a guy who was putting up gobs of yards when he was playing. But I think he has missed a couple of games, but the thing is, they have a whole stable of running backs. I know Blake Anderson talked about how, GNT is the better of them, But like that running back room is still going to be dangerous, whoever's in there at running back.
So looking at a report on Twitter from earlier today, it came from late this morning. There is video of Genty at practice today, participating in some drills. Nothing too serious, just individual stuff, moving around. Don't know that means that he's going to be good to go for Saturday, but so it seems to be more encouraging than what it looked like last week for sure. So hard to know at this point if he is going to be cleared or not. I think Utah State should be preparing for him to be available because this is a really big game for them. They do not want to lose to Utah State.
Yeah, Boise State's going to be up for this game. They've got to keep their record against the Aggies going, however many straight wins, and pretty much every win, every game of like the 21st century, Boise State's come out on top, say for like a couple. So Boise State's going to be up for this game. Utah State's going to try and get up for this game because they're on the opposite side of that. They don't want to lose again, especially because this is one of the more beatable teams for Utah State. This is the most vulnerable the Broncos have been in decades. So you get a crack at a team that's struggling. They're 5-5 on the season. Some guys are either injured. Some guys have left. Some of their best players aren't around. Some of them are injured. There's quarterback troubles. The interim head coach. This is as vulnerable as a team gets.
So many distractions over the last few days, and they've not been consistent. They've not been very good. But all that being said, we have seen in times past, and we've seen it work in Utah State's favor, that when a head coach gets displaced and an assistant or coordinator assumes the interim role, then sometimes that can really motivate the team, and some of the toxicity that existed from that other coach it exits as well. So it can be kind of a rallying cry, an opportunity to bring people together. So just because they've had distractions and they let go of their coach doesn't mean that it's going to be any easier necessarily to take on Boise State on Saturday.
Yeah, it's still going to be a tough one, and so you're going to have to play your best. That's what the Aggies have to do. They're going to have to play one of their best games of the season. Similar to how they played against Fresno State. That was one of their better games of the season, and they came close to beating a pretty good team. So they're going to need to play up to that caliber, playing well on offense. They didn't play superbly on defense against Fresno, which is why they ended up losing that game. They're going to have to play well on both sides of the ball, make plays when it matters on defense, make a lot of great plays on offense. So a lot to go for, but it's a winnable game.
Yeah, and we'll get into more about Utah State and Boise State as we continue through the week. But there's a big basketball game going on tonight.
Yep, there is. Only in-state game, I believe, of the season, which is a little disappointing. I've said that there's not a whole lot of excuses, although we did ask Danny Sprinkle actually about this, about in-state opponents. And he was more nonchalant about it. Didn't seem to... He was basically saying guys weren't ducking each other. I feel like it's important to be able to play, everyone try and play each other. With how many Division I schools now they have in Utah, it is stretching it a little bit. Because, is every team, out of Utah State, Weber, Utah, UVU, BYU, SU, Utah Tech, that's 7 teams all in-state. Are you going to stack 6 in-state games? That's most of your non-conference schedule. You tack on the showcase tournaments that everyone goes to. That's basically your entire non-conference schedule, 9 games. Most teams play 11 or 12. So you are stretching it if you play everyone. But you kind of like where Utah State, they've rotated through. They played a home-and-home with Weber last couple of years. Maybe take a year or two break. They played Utah Tech.
Utah Valley.
Yeah, they played Utah Valley, Utah Tech last year. So I think if you rotate through, but I do think it is important for Utah State, BYU, and Utah. They should probably all be playing each other every year or pretty close to every year. Maybe at this point, again, with how many, maybe you just kind of do a little round robin of home and homes with everybody. Just try and do it as best you can.
Yeah. I mean, Utah has not been on the schedule in how long?
It's
15 years?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'd have to go back and check, but it's like they should be playing each other. They should be doing home and homes. Like, I'll kind of back off of saying they should do it I know I've said in the past I think they should do it every year, but to get everyone playing each other and get these in-states, have home and homes regularly with each team. Like Utah State, they're not doing home and homes with SU and Utah Tech. They did it with Weber State. I think they should be doing it with some of these teams. Just show some respect for all these other in-state teams.
So the 9315 on the Full Court Press text line asking, how good is this team from Cedar City? Well, they're 1-1 on the year. They're 260 in Ken Palm. Yeah,
this is a team. So last year, to give an idea, last year they were 24-13. This is a team that went to the WAC WAC tournament championship game, upset UVU in the semifinal. UVU, who were seen as they were the team that was projected by everybody to be the auto bid out of the WAC. SU upsets them in the semifinal, thrilling game. But then they lost to Grand Canyon, I believe it was. Grand Canyon is now actually cleaning up shop early this season. But SUU, I think of their top, basically they had like 8 main rotation players, 8 guys who played like 30-plus games. One of those players returned. So you look at SUU, they're in a similar-ish but not as extreme position as the Aggies, where most of their rotation is gone. The one rotation guy who returned played 8 minutes per game last year. Now, of course, in those first couple of games, it's their center whose name it's like, do you have it in front of you?
Number 2?
No, it's
the roster?
Is it number 2?
Cut number 2?
Oh, that's the thing. The guy that they were talking about. Yeah, we can play that, but yeah, it's there. I'm trying to remember his name, but he's 6'9" center who Danny Sprinkle actually compared to Gray Osbar. So far, he's actually doing pretty good because he leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. So this is a guy it's the one guy who's returning, and he's doing pretty well for the team. And then you look at the rest of the incoming rotation; it's a bunch of guards, and so that's kind of what they're doing. So if you want, you can play that cut of him talking about athleticism and this center that they've got.
Very impressed with their athleticism. Their guards can all, they can spread you out, and all 4 of them can really shoot it and get the ball downhill. And then they got, the big guy down there, number 22, that was there last year. I believe his last name's Parsaw. But he's really improved, and he's similar to Great. He's kind of a big, thick body, but he can really move and he can score down low.
Yeah, so Parsa is actually his first name, or at least the roster I'm looking at has that as his first name. I don't know if Sports Reference has his name backwards, but Parsa Fala, averaging 15.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 0.5 blocks. I say he leads the team in blocks, but that's because the entire team has like 2 of them the entire year. They're a bit short. I mean, their starting lineup in the last game was 4 guards, 3 of whom are 6'4", 1 of which is 6'3", and then 6'9" this Parsa, the one returner from last year's rotation. They probably won't start that lineup in their season opener against I believe it was Cal State Bakersfield. They started 3 guards and another 6'9" forward. So they had a pair of 6'9" front court players and 3 guards. I'd expect them to go with that starting lineup, given the Aggies start a 6'8" and 7-foot guy in their front court. I don't think SU is going to go small as their starter, but we could see them go to a 4-guard lineup because that's, again, their top 5 players, and they have 5 players averaging double-digit scoring right now. Some of that's boosted by the fact that their second game, they scored 108 against a non-Division I team, Life Pacific. So I wouldn't expect 5 guys being capable over the full season to score double digits, but they have a balanced team in terms of scoring. A lot of these guys are capable of scoring. Parsa, he's in the post. Other guys on the 3-point line. So it's a bit of a balanced team there.
Yeah, and Coach Sprinkle shares his thoughts a little bit more about this team and how the Thunderbirds can score and their pace of play. And it always helps when the audio is turned on when you push play.
That's what they can really score the basketball.
They're pretty balanced too. They're not relying.
Yeah, and they play fast. Like they play fast, and the first open shot, they're shooting it. He has those guys playing with a lot of confidence. And so hopefully there's a lot of long rebounds tomorrow, and our guards got to gobble those up, and we got to get up the floor in transition and make them pay for taking quick shots.
Yeah, so they have, they don't shoot an extraordinary number of threes. I feel like Danny Sprinkle has exaggerated the three-point volume of every team they've played so far. Maybe just the numbers aren't standing out because we have such small sample sizes, but in 2 games, one of which was a 108-point game, they're averaging their 200th in three-point attempts per game. 22, which, I mean, even if I go by because right now ranks can be really skewed one way or the other due to playing Division II teams and all that. But last year's Aggies, they were kind of average in three-point attempts, and I think they were at 24. They say average in three-point attempts. Their percentage was through the roof. They were like top 10 the whole year. But they averaged about 24 a game, and they were average, and SUU shoots 22. I think their first game they shot like 26. Their second game they shot like 18 or something like that. They're not going to be jacking up threes all night, but they will shoot them. This is modern basketball after all.
Right.
Like half your shots are going to, or at least a third of your shots are going to be three-pointers. And so SUU is going to meet that modern standard. And they've got a couple of guys who are dangerous. Dominique Ford, in small sample size alert, he's shooting 54%. And then Zion Young, he's shooting 45%. Again, small sample size alert. But a couple of guys who can, at least a couple, and maybe some of these other guys, I haven't dug deep into their histories, but, wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys who shot poorly suddenly break out in this game because, their percentages may not be completely indicative of what they're capable of so far.
Yeah, interesting matchup. Just to kind of, to some degree, maybe thinking of a little bit more of South Dakota Mines, but I mean, not quite. But certainly, it's a team that's going to be a little bit more reliant on its guards. But they do have the I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name, the player in the post, which balances them out a little bit more. So, but this game is. This is more about a game about getting the Aggies back on track, in my mind. Learning from that road trip at Bradley, being in a hostile environment, away from home, and what do we see out of this team, and how quickly can they get into the gym and fix their mistakes and correct what they weren't not necessarily doing wrong, but how can they be better? I think that's as much what tonight's about as what is it that Southern Utah is going to bring to challenge the Aggies?
Yeah, and there's several things. I know we need to get to a break, so I think we can take that and then roll into some of these because Danny Sprinkle identified a couple of these, and I think we can also look at some of those things that we want to see from the Aggies because you are kind of expected to win this game. You're a team that, you use Ken Palm as a reference, but they're, 103rd, 104th. SUU, they're 260th. You're expected to win this game.
Line is set at 15.5.
Yeah. So what it's about is you need to do the things. Don't just come in here and win just because you're better. You need to improve upon the things that you were bad in that made you lose the Bradley game. Improve on those things. That way you can actually improve, and then when you're going to the Cayman Islands, you can get some quality wins instead of constantly losing to good teams and then beating up on bad teams.
All right, so we'll discuss that. Take your texts as well, things you want to watch for tonight as Utah State takes on Southern Utah, 435-339-0321.
If you're thinking about getting engaged this holiday season, S.E. Needham Jewelers is a place to shop for your diamond engagement ring. S.E. Needham's has the largest selection of wedding rings in the area, including hundreds of styles in platinum, white gold, and yellow gold. We import diamonds direct from Antwerp, Belgium, which enables us to guarantee the best price on diamonds. We also offer the most complete warranty and services of any store in the state. Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Holiday parties and events at the Riverwoods Conference Center offer a festive and fun holiday atmosphere. Paired with catering from Elements Restaurant, your special occasion can include tasty hors d'oeuvres, delicious entrees, and decadent desserts that always deliver excellence. Now accepting reservations for this holiday season. The Riverwoods Conference Center and Elements Restaurant easily accommodate large or small events. Visit theriverwoods.com or call 750-5151.
Ski season is coming, which means Season Ski Rentals. This is Mark at The Sportsman, where we have over 20 years of season ski rental experience. We rent to kids and adults. Come in to get season ski rentals for your entire family. We like to wait a little later in the fall because there is a chance your kids might grow out of their boots by the time ski season actually rolls around. Starting at $69.99, you will get the right gear for your kids to ski this year at The Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan with tons of parking in the back.
Security. It's the most precious thing you can give your home, especially if it's guaranteed. No cheap locks, no weak keys, no inadequate hardware, just the expertise and precision and security. Beezer Lock and Key believes there's no place like a safe home, and no home safer than one secured by them. It may seem they only sell locks and keys, but what they really sell is peace of mind. Search Beezer Lock and Key or go to 4th North and 1st West and just add confidence.
Sunday on the Las Vegas Raiders Radio Network, the Silver and Black play host to the New York Jets. Hi, this is Tim Cates. Join Jason Horowitz and Lincoln Kennedy for all the action. The Antonio Pierce era off to a winning start after a win over the New York Giants. Now the New York Jets come to Allegiant Stadium. Can the Raiders make it 2 in a row? It's the Raiders and the Jets. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Pre-game begins Sunday morning at 10:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
Following the local teams, it's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. Utah State taking on Southern Utah tonight at 7 p.m.
Yeah, you made me put 6 in my preview because you told me you said it was a 6, so I just didn't double check it. Whoops.
I'm looking at our broadcast schedule, not the basketball schedule. Get you in trouble.
This time it's not my mistake. This time it's yours. Usually it's my screw up.
Yeah, it's me. It's all me. 435-339-0321. Utah State taking on Southern Utah tonight, 7 o'clock in the Spectrum. What are you looking for most? I know this is the third game on the schedule, but legitimately in my mind, this is the second game on the schedule, first real game. So what kind of changes or improvements are you looking for, either in style of play, a specific player? What are you looking for tonight? 435-339-0321 on the Full Court Press text line. 5344 texting in. It would be cool to see an in-state basketball tournament. It would be cool.
Yeah, they kind of had one of those. It wasn't really a tournament. It was a round-robin type thing. But I know these guys like to go to these, like for the Aggies, Cayman Islands, the Jamaica, I forget what it was called.
Or go to Hawaii.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach. All these different, showcase tournaments. And you play a bunch of other teams. It'd be nice if they had that kind of thing for Utah. But, pretty sure they make money off those things from participating in them. You play some teams that are high in the NET, and you can always play, in-state teams pretty much whenever you want because you just put them elsewhere on your schedule. But it would be cool to do something like that for, in Utah.
Yeah, it would.
Especially because it would end up helping the NET. There's good teams.
Right. Yeah, there are.
Like Weber State's killing it right now.
The challenge is that you only have one MTE a year you can do. One multi-team event that you can participate in.
Yeah, and you don't really want to, I use the word waste, but you wouldn't want to waste that on a bunch of teams that you can already put on your schedule. As much fun and spectacular as it would be for fans, but maybe you can do something that's informal. Just play as many of them as you can and have some sort of award for the team that does the best in all those games. I think you could do that.
You bring back the Beehive Classic. It's not a multi-team event per se. There's just a Utah State versus Utah on a neutral site court. And then shortly after that game, it's BYU versus Weber State on a neutral site court.
Yeah,
also on the same court just shortly thereafter.
And I think you could, loop SUU and Utah Tech in there and UVU.
Easy.
Get all. I think you ended with 7, so you'd have an odd number. I don't know.
Have a guest team.
Yeah, maybe you could bring one in, but it's just like maybe throw Boise State in there. They're close enough regionally. So I think there's something you could do, but I think there's just not enough motivation to do that. Everyone's just kind of doing their thing, and they'll schedule everyone else whenever. And Utah just won't schedule anyone because, heaven forbid, they play anyone else in state.
Utah doing Utah.
Utah's the worst because BYU at least plays a lot of these other teams. BYU went to UVU. I mean, it's basically BYU diet, but at least they went there.
Well, so before we get to some of these other texts, there are some comments from Danny Sprinkle about playing in-state teams. So his views on that, and he's got an in-state team in his house tonight.
A lot of scheduling, especially in the non-conference. I inherited a lot of, I inherited Bradley. I inherited San Francisco. I inherited Santa Clara. I knew we were going to St. Louis. And, a lot of it is dates too. Does Utah Valley, do they have the 1 or 2 dates that we have available to play a home game? And if they don't, then you have to kind of work towards, the following years. And so a lot of it now, and it's going to keep changing too with conference realignment. You never know. We may be playing 20 or 22 league games next year. We don't know. And so that kind of minimizes the non-conference and how many dates you have available. So there's a lot of variables that go into it. Because I don't think nobody's ducking anybody. I mean, BYU's not ducking us. We're not ducking Utah. Utah's not ducking Weber, And everybody's got good teams, but a lot of it just comes down to, schools need money, to come play guarantee games. And then it comes down to dates.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I mean, he didn't have a lot of time to make this schedule totally his.
Yeah, and he also had a bunch of commitments that weren't his, which I don't think he complained about having the obligations with San Diego, Bradley, and Santa Clara and all that, and San Francisco. Solid games.
Bradley, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think he would have complained, but obviously it wasn't in his control. He already had 4 or 5 non-conference games put on his plate, and he had to make the rest. I think as far as dates, because I do think most of these teams want to play other in-states, but it's like you're trying to set up, Utah State wants to play a Bradley. Well, then they have to work with Bradley, and then once they set that date, then you're trying to fit in SUU and UVU, and SUU and UVU are doing their thing, and so it's it's like just try and get 5 or 6 people to agree on a dinner date, and I guess you kind of get the idea of what it can maybe be like. But
it's a little complicated.
So it does get. I should concede that and I hadn't really considered that as much when I talk about these teams playing each other, but where there's a will, there's a way.
There's so many more opportunities for basketball than there are in football to get these games on the schedule.
Yeah, so I think you can do it, and if you prioritize it, because if you prioritize playing some of these in-state teams over playing a Bradley, well, then you can start fitting things together. And with how good Utah is, the state of Utah, would you need to play Bradley if you're playing a Utah? If you go on the road to Utah, if you go on the road to BYU, on the road to SUU, would you need to play Bradley? Not as much.
No. A road game is considered a road game, whether that's 10 miles down the road or 150 miles or 1,500 miles.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It's a road game.
Yeah, and you're cutting your teeth against good teams. Yeah, you're playing a road team. It saves on expense. You can bus down to SUU if you really wanted to. Save a lot on charter flights and all that. So there's a lot of reasons I think all these teams could be playing each other a lot more often and at each other's venues. And I would emphasize Utah State needing to. Like I said, they haven't played at Utah Tech, at USU, at least in recent memory. So we talk about BYU and Utah never wanting to come to Utah State. Well, Utah State's doing a little bit of that to UVU and these other teams. Like I said, with Weber State, they did go there. So
yeah.
Some mutual respect in that case. But
Aggies have gone to Orem before, but I don't think they've gone to – I can't remember them going to Cedar City, certainly not to St. George.
Yeah, so there should be a lot of home and homes between all these two teams. It shouldn't be a yearly thing for everyone, but you should be playing 3 or 4 in-state teams, at least 2 or 3.
So tonight, this game is about Southern Utah to a degree. This was a good team, a 24-win team last year, but a lot of those guys are gone. But tonight, for me, this is more about Utah State correcting and addressing issues that we saw on the court last week at Bradley. So if you're in the same boat, like, what are some of the things that you're interested in seeing different or better tonight as Utah State takes on Southern Utah? 7 o'clock is when it tips off in the Spectrum. 435-339-0321. A couple of texts coming through, 8968, saying, I take it from you say the Aggies don't play Weber this year. That might be a good thing.
It probably is. Weber beat St. Mary's, and I haven't looked too into it, but there's a lot of praise that I'm hearing around from Weber. I haven't had a chance to go watch them and do a dive into them, mostly because Utah State doesn't play them, so they're not on my radar to watch.
Yeah,
I've watched
votes in the AP Top 25.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of other future Aggie opponents, but since Weber's not on there, I haven't taken time to watch them. But yeah, it's Weber looks like they're going to be pretty good.
9315. I'm looking for a win that's by 10 points or more with no overtime tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Win
What
comfortably.
What if you got a 15-point win in overtime?
That would be something.
That would be weird.
6804. As a player going to those vacation away tourneys, Caribbean or Myrtle Beach, etc., are good and bad. You actually spend very little time outside the buildings. For a player, sometimes the further along in the season it is, the more you want to stay local in-state and travel less. In the beginning of the season, traveling can be a team-building event. But once the season really gets going, the traveling must be justified because the chance for exhaustion and injury skyrockets.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I've never really talked to people about what exactly the benefits of these events are. I have to imagine money plays a big factor because that just plays a big factor in everything. Because it can't just be about playing good teams because you can do that anyway. And as 6804 outlines, there's a lot of potential negatives for the team. Exhaustion and injury, playing 3 games in 4 days in a lot of cases. Sometimes it's 3 games in 3 days. Or I think these days it's like 3 games in 5 days sometimes. But it's like, yeah, it's tricky.
It's when you go to Las Vegas in March, you're going to play 3 games, maybe 4 games in 4 nights. So these tournaments are really valuable for that. I've heard multiple coaches comment on that this is a time to play a game, have a short turnaround time, identify things to work on, and we're back at it again. Because to be successful in March, we have to learn how to do that in November or December. Those are good early tests for us. How quickly can we turn around and make adjustments and improvements in less than 24 hours in a lot of cases?
Yeah, 6804 clarifying says the school gets money. The players get dinner at a nice restaurant, most likely one time. That's about it. That's all we had time for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Look, it's you're away from the normal stuff that's going on, and you're away from the demands, some friends and family, and maybe your girlfriend or your wife or whatever.
From school too.
From school, right? It's when you go to these tournaments, it's just about basketball. It's just about your teammates, relying on and trusting in the guys you're going to go to battle with every day. And so especially for a team that's so new coming together, huge, valuable opportunity. Now, it's a really interesting point from 6804 about having that multi-team event, that tournament-type atmosphere early in the season rather than late, as in maybe later December. Because once you get into conference play, you're not going to do this. But I'm similarly, I feel that this is really beneficial for Utah State to have this kind of situation and opportunity early in the season for them to come together and learn a lot more about each other as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see, 6804. I wish finding a quiet place to study was tough.
Yes, that's true, especially nowadays with
if you're in a resort situation. Maybe
with online school, I guess there really is never any getting away from school for these athletes because they can find them wherever they go.
Yes. 6133 texting in, is the game televised?
Yeah, it is. It's on
tonight.
Channel
yes.
12, the KMYU, I think.
KMYU.
Yeah, it's basically like the K-Jazz, except on Channel 12 this time.
Right.
Because I think it's mostly same, because it's Dave Fox and Gary Wilkinson, I believe, on TV.
It'd be great to have Gary Wilkinson on the broadcast.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have him. I know not everybody's thrilled about having Dave on there, but
I can appreciate that there's great opportunity what Utah State's doing to try to provide opportunities for fans and just the casual viewers across the state to watch more games. And maybe I'll just leave it at that.
All right, there we go. No need to say anything mean. If you're like me, though, the solution, when people keep complaining about anyone, I'm not saying this just about, local broadcasters. They complain about visiting announcers and this. There's a huge, complaint about last year, like the San Diego broadcast, how bad it was. The guy's mic kept popping because he was too loud, and people thought he was annoying. The greatest invention for this situation is the mute button. I watch about 80% of my games on mute.
Turn on your radio. We'll have the full play-by-play.
Yeah, I've said this before. I don't think I would listen to myself broadcast the game, so I don't expect anybody else to do it. Watch the TV. Yeah, if you could turn on the KVNU broadcast.
I at least have faith that Gary Wilkinson will do his homework and will know about what's going on the court.
Yeah, it's nice to have dedicated Aggies. That's the main thing you want. I
wish I could say the same about the play-by-play announcer.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take another timeout here in the Full Court Press. Continue to look at Utah State, Southern Utah. Like, what are some of the things you want to see tonight? We've got some recommendations from you. I don't think I've really said what I've.
Yeah, we haven't gone over our own.
Really
so we need to get into
us
that
specifically. Danny Sprinkle has some things he wants to see tonight too, so we'll hear from him also. But feel free to chime in, 435-339-0321.
Les Olson IT structured cabling is second to none. Tired of old and inefficient cabling? Have an upgrade or remodel planned? Building a new network from the ground up? We offer the very best in low-voltage cabling installation, including data, phone, fiber optic, and more. Ask us how to get your free consultation today.
Les Olson IT.
Check out the new Liberty Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in beautiful Montpelier, Idaho. We've got friendly staff, great service, fresh inventory, and the same values you expect in a small town. Montpelier, Idaho, a small town with great people to serve you, the people of Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah. You can now see most inventory online too at libertycdjr.com. We're the new Liberty Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Montpelier with warranty forever.
Your skis are skinny and your boots tie with leather.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You need up-to-date ski equipment, and your kids want the good stuff. Al Sporting Goods has season ski rental for the entire family. Ski and board equipment that you can rent for the entire season. Pick them up now, bring them back in May. Youth season ski or snowboard rental, only $99. Adult season ski or snowboard rentals, only $114. Don't wait. 99 and 114 season ski rental prices will go up. Al Sporting Goods for season ski rentals. Every sport, every season.
While you're doing whatever it is you do, we're testing, retesting, engineering, and re-engineering to keep up with you. We run together.
Your local Train dealer, JM Mechanical, has moved to 222 West 2850 North Logan, just north of Airport Road. Fast 24-hour heating service is available in Box Elder, Cache County, and Franklin County with a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
It's hard to stop a train.
Advanced Heating and AC and Advanced Fireplace and Stove want to help local families this year with a food drive. Drop off your canned foods at Advanced Heating across from DI or hand them to one of their technicians when they come to your home for a repair. And to say thank you, the Advanced team will match all your contributions and offer a 20% discount on your next service call. Find out more at AdvancedFireplaceandStove.com or call 752-7272. Donate to Advanced Fireplace and Stove's canned food drive for local families.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Sunday on Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. The NFC West leading San Francisco 49ers host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hi, this is Mike Morgan. Join Brian Baldinger and me for all the action as Brock Purdy and the 49ers look to protect home field in a Week 11 NFC showdown with Baker Mayfield and the invading Buccaneers. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Pre-game begins Sunday afternoon at 1:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Fan.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Like I told them today, I said, hey, put a smile on your face. You know, we're going to play in one of the best environments in college basketball tomorrow night. Like, we should be pretty grateful to have a home game. And, you know, you have to move on from stuff like that. We showed them the film, and, you know, I want to see our response defensively. We had some breakdowns that cost us late. You know, our transition defense wasn't as good as it needs to beat a team like Bradley on the road.
So, Coach Danny Sprinkle, he wants to see a better defensive response, and he wants to see his guys having fun.
Yeah, it's something you got to move on from. He's like, obviously, show the guys the film, show them their mistakes. There were mistakes that they made defensively. You talked about a couple where there were a couple of breakdowns on late plays, gave Bradley some wide open shots, wide open threes, some easy dunks in crucial situations where you do not want to be giving open shots at the rim. You need to be playing better defense. And then transition defense. I didn't think it was particularly bad, but clearly not where it needed to be, as he said, to beat Bradley. So there's some improvements that need to be made on defense, things they need to keep doing. They're going to be playing a team that plays fast, so get out on defense in transition. But there's also some offensive improvements they need to make. And there's probably more, I mean, Danny might say there's more on defense, but I think a lot of what we've noticed is offensive struggles. There's a couple of guys who've done pretty well. Great Osbar's done pretty well in both games. Granted, he's averaging like 4.5 turnovers a game so far. So he's got his own weaknesses despite averaging 18 points. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things for this game is, do these guys make the shots that they create? They created shots against Bradley.
Yeah.
They missed quite a few of them. They created a lot of them against in the exhibition game. Like in the season opener against South Dakota Mines, they created shots and they made like all of them. They shot like 60%.
They hit everything.
So in that game, they showed they can make those shots. You just want to see these guys more often than not make the shots, because in 2 out of the 3 games, they've struggled. In 1 of the 3, they were spectacular. Can they be closer? You're not going to shoot 60% every game, so be a little closer to what you did against South Dakota Mines. Make enough of those shots. Be efficient with the shots you create. They were not efficient with the shots they created against Bradley. They need to do that. It's going to be easier because you're playing a team that is not nearly as good defensively as Bradley, but when you create those open shots, make sure you make them. Now, Danny Sprinkle, he did talk about how he says, I know that we'll make shots. He's confident that they're going to make their shots down the line. It's just something that's going to have to come along at some point.
Yes. That is correct.
Yeah. I know we'll make shots. Like, we moved the basketball really well. We just, there was probably 4 shots down there in the last, couple minutes that if any one of them would have fallen. Ian had a layup on the break, and it was literally a 1/4 of an inch from hitting the backboard, and it would have been goaltend. The guy just made an unbelievable play. He had a 3 that went in and out. Great had a left-hand jump hook that just rolled in and out. That any of those changed the game. We had good looks. We did a good job. We had a couple turnovers when they had post doubles, but for the most part, once we got it out of there and reversed the ball, we had some great looks that, these guys, we'll knock them down.
Yeah, they had looks. I mean, that wasn't the problem against Bradley. It's just they couldn't get them to go in. I don't know if that was just a confidence thing or something with the travel of getting there and they were tired. The emotion of getting Ian Martinez into the roster last second. I don't know. But they missed a lot of bunnies. They missed open looks. So they had opportunities to make their shots. They just didn't go in.
Yeah, and they'll need to work on that. And one of the biggest keys is layups. Layups or shots at the rim, to be specific, because it's layups and dunks. And that is the single most important shot. And people like to say that the basketball is turning to 3-pointers, but the most important shot, you ask every coach on earth and they will tell you they want layups every single possession. They will take that every day of the week. The Aggies are shooting, if you include the exhibition game where there were some of those layup struggles, they're shooting 54% on shots at the rim. And yes, that's better than the coin flip. That is awful for layups.
Yeah, when you're that close to the rim.
Yeah. The standard is
a lot higher.
Standard is closer to 60% as a team. Elite rim shooters will shoot like 70%, but those are usually your 7-foot centers. That's kind of what you expect Great Osbar to be able to do. Of course, he's really struggled with the rim. Now, if you look at that 54%, if you slotted that in with all the D1 teams, the Aggies would rank 258th in percentage at the rim. That's bad. And Danny Spriggle, he talked about their issues with layups and trying to fix those.
We'll probably have to bring out the sticks and work on finishing over, but a lot of it's just focus. And I showed Great a lot of his misses. He's kind of been the king of it so far. And we need him to score those. Or get and ones on those. And so, it's just a focus. It's locking your eyes on the rim and not worrying about guys blocking shots. And I told them, hey, if they're going to block the shot, they're going to block it anyways. But if they don't block it, make sure that thing goes in. And so we'll do some drills, but it's just a focus.
Yeah, they have players who should be able to finish at the rim. This isn't Stephen Ashworth and Rylan Jones, who are 6'0" and are just not going to be able to finish at the rim. You've got
going into the trees.
Yeah, you've got Osbar, who's 6'8" and a 7'4" wingspan. Isaac Johnson. Ian Martinez, 6'3", athletic. Mason Falstaff, athletic, 6'3". Max Agbunk Polo, long, athletic, 6'9". They have a team that should be capable of finishing at the rim. They just haven't been, and that's something they'll need to improve on.
So other things you want to see tonight in Utah State's third game of the season, second really in my mind. What does this team need to work on? What would you like to see different tonight or similar? 435-339-0321.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
This is Justin Hamilton from Cafe Sabor and Off-Premise Catering. The holidays can be so hectic. That's why I'm so excited to make your holiday catering so simple. Maybe it's a last-minute holiday office lunch, family get-together, or corporate party. I can handle any size gathering with my Off-Premise Catering team. You'll love Cafe Sabor's favorites are Hamilton steak and seafood, prime rib, salmon, and all the trimmings. The menu is up to you. Let my Off-Premise Catering team handle your last-minute holiday event at your office, home, Cafe Sabor, or one of our many banquet facilities. Call 755-9500. That's 755-9500. Happy holidays from your friends at Cafe Sabor and your Off-Premise Catering team.
Hey golfers, Black Friday at Birch Creek starts Monday, November 13th. Punch passes, $150. All remaining golf shoes and shirts, half off. All remaining golf hats, $15. A limited number of $150 punch passes will be sold. Black Friday at Birch Creek runs Monday, November 13th through Wednesday, November 22nd. That's Birch Creek Golf Course in Smithville.
Are you tired of the same old boring eyewear? Crystal Vision in Logan is your go-to destination for unique and stylish eyewear. Their one-of-a-kind collection features exclusive styles and designs that will help you stand out from the crowd. Say goodbye to ordinary and hello to extraordinary. They push the boundaries with fresh styles and vibrant colors that reflect your personality. At Crystal Vision, it's not just about eyewear, it's about making a statement. Discover your unique style today. Crystal Vision. See the world through a different lens online at crystalvision.com.
Clean it up and get it out this fall.
Don't wait another winter. Let DD Auto and Salvage pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan want to pay you today. Search DD Auto and Salvage today or call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204.
See store for details.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
We're messing with some of those lineups right now. I'm messing with, Mason playing some point guard, because he's good when he gets the ball, especially on a miss, bringing the ball up the floor. And, we're going to have to do that. We can't have Darius making every decision. And, Darius was a warrior. He played 45 almost the entire game. And, you can't do that. Somebody else has got to be able to shoulder the load. And that's where Javon comes in, and that's where Mason's going to have to come in too.
And, Jason, that is one of the things I want to see tonight. Is there going to be somebody else who will take care of point guard duties and see Darius Brown take a breather at some point during the game?
I think
they have to figure that out.
I think with it being SU instead of Bradley, you have to, and it being home game, and Darius Brown's not going to play all 40 minutes. I'd expect him to play closer to 30 than 40, 32, 33. And you're going to see Javon Jackson out there playing point. You're going to see Mason Falsett. Maybe they try out a lineup with Mason at point. He's not really, they've been trying to get Javon to play point, but with the rotation maybe tightening up with Ian Martinez coming in, maybe Javon gets pushed out a little bit. I don't think he'll get pushed out entirely, but he'll have some of his minutes cuts. Mason might have to play more point because Ian's going to take up a lot of those shooting guard minutes. So Mason loses some of his shooting guard minutes, so to avoid losing all of his minutes, he's going to have to learn to play point guard. Or maybe Javon beats out Mason. I don't know. It's going to be a battle. Somebody's got to play better. Danny Sprinkle just about stole my just play better when I asked him about that guard rotation with Ian coming in.
Yeah, I'd love it. That's competition. It's play better, and that's for all of them. That's all 6 of them. You want to play better. Be absolutely dialed into the scout. When you get your minutes on a court, produce. It's a production-based business. And if you're not producing, you're not going to play. And that's the best thing about having, multiple guys at that spot is you got to bring it every day. You got to come, you got to be efficient, and most of all, you got to guard and rebound.
I expect my royalty check in the mail, Dan.
Yeah, that's right. Put it on a poster. Jason Walker pointing with a firm look on his face. Just play better.
I posted that on Twitter. You can find it on my account. I posted it once upon a time.
It exists. All right, stick around because next hour we'll get into some stuff going on with football. In the bowl projections for the Utah State Aggies. Where could they be going and who could they be playing against?
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. In the NFL, sometimes being good doesn't cut it. The league is about titles, not playoff appearances. And if a coach fails to deliver, that often leads to their dismissal. After the Buffalo Bills dropped to 5-5 last night with a loss to the Broncos, Sean McDermott may be on the hot seat. But he won't be on the hot seat for his poor coaching. He's won just under 63% of his games throughout his time in Buffalo. It's his inability to get his team over the top. McDermott has played a large role in turning this franchise around, but sometimes tough decisions need to be made in order to win a title. After constructing the Golden State Warriors, Mark Jackson was let go in favor of Steve Kerr. He helped the Warriors win 4 titles. After 3 straight playoff losses with Tony Dungy, the Buccaneers transitioned to John Gruden. Gruden helped lead the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl the following year. So while McDermott deserves a lot of credit for reviving the Bills after 7 seasons, it could be time for a change. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.